You've heard it everywhere: go to therapy, it helps. But here's the truth no one really says out loud: sometimes, therapy doesn't help at all. And not because you're not trying hard enough, but because something deeper is being missed. You sit through session after session, hoping to feel lighter, to finally find peace. But instead, you leave feeling more confused, more tired, maybe even ashamed that it's not working for you like it seems to for everyone else. But what if I told you it's not your fault? What if the real reason therapy hasn't worked has nothing to do with your effort, and everything to do with what's happening beneath the surface, inside your mind, your body, even inside the therapy room itself? In this video, you'll discover the hidden truths no one talks about. 7 real, powerful reasons therapy fails some people, and chances are, one of them applies to you. And here's why you need to stay till the end. The last reason? It's the one even most therapists won't say out loud. But once you hear it, you might finally understand why your healing has felt stuck, and what you can do to shift it. If you've ever felt like therapy didn't work, and blamed yourself for it, this video is the one you were meant to find. Let's begin. Therapy is often portrayed as the ultimate solution, where wounded hearts find healing, broken minds find clarity, and buried trauma is finally unearthed and resolved. But for many, this promise doesn't manifest. Weeks turn into months, and still, no relief. The question they're too ashamed to ask echoes silently. Why isn't this working for me? Let's explore the deep, often unspoken reasons. 1. Therapy is a mirror, but some aren't ready to look. Many come to therapy expecting relief, not confrontation. But therapy doesn't always soothe, it exposes. It unearths pain, defense mechanisms, and long-repressed memories. For those who haven't developed the emotional tolerance to face their inner chaos, therapy can feel not just ineffective, but re-traumatizing. A problem called psychological resistance, which is a defense where the mind subconsciously avoids uncomfortable truths, often occurs in therapy sessions. A person may smile in sessions, intellectualize their pain, or talk in circles, all while avoiding the core issues. But the road to true healing begins by acknowledging that you can't heal what you're still pretending doesn't hurt. So, before you book another therapy session, ask yourself, are you going to be honest in therapy, or just saying what sounds good? Another reason why therapy is not too effective sometimes is the therapist-client mismatch, when the chemistry between both of them is off. Just like in friendships or romantic relationships, not every therapist is a good match. Therapy is deeply relational. If a client doesn't feel safe, seen, or understood, their nervous system remains guarded, making deep transformation nearly impossible. There are also cultural, racial, spiritual, or gender mismatches that can quietly hinder connection. For example, a Black or Indigenous client might not open up to a therapist who doesn't understand intergenerational trauma or systemic racism. Or a trauma survivor might need a therapist trained in somatic work, not just talk therapy. A license doesn't guarantee attunement. Not every therapist is trauma-informed, attachment-aware, or emotionally present. So, before you book another therapy session, ask yourself, are you going to be truly attended to in your therapy, or merely observed? The third reason why therapy fails sometimes is the depth of the wound exceeds the toolset of the method. Therapy often focuses on words, talking through thoughts and feelings. But some pain lives deeper than words. It lives in your body, in your nervous system, in your childhood memories. If the therapist only uses talk therapy, it might not reach those deep places. Some people need different tools, like body-based healing, art, inner child work, or trauma-focused support. If someone has deep-rooted attachment trauma, logic won't solve it. If someone has complex PTSD, just talking about the trauma might bypass where it lives, in the body and the unconscious mind. You can't solve a nervous system problem with only cognitive tools. Question to reflect on during the therapy session: is your therapist using the right kind of approach for your kind of pain? The fourth reason is poverty and survival mode. Therapy assumes you have enough safety, time, and internal capacity to do the work. But if you're in survival mode, financially unstable, dealing with chronic illness, unsafe living conditions, your brain literally can't process deep emotional work. The prefrontal cortex of the brain shuts down under stress. Healing takes a backseat to survival. This is often the invisible elephant in the therapy room. It's hard to talk about your inner child when your rent is due tomorrow and you haven't eaten all day. So, before you book that therapy session, ask yourself, is your nervous system safe enough to focus on healing, or is it still fighting for survival? The fifth reason therapy is not too effective sometimes is: healing isn't linear, and sometimes, it doesn't look like progress. Therapy often peels away coping mechanisms, leaving the raw wound exposed. This can feel worse before it feels better. A client might interpret this emotional unraveling as therapy not working, when in fact, it's the beginning of real change. But without proper support, this unraveling can lead to therapy fatigue, discouragement, or dropout. Sometimes therapy makes you feel more emotional, not less. That doesn't always mean it's not working. It just means the old pain is rising to the surface. So, before you give up on that therapy session, ask yourself, could it be that this therapy is working, but not in the way I expected it? The sixth reason is: some therapists have their own unhealed pain. This part is tough to say, but it's true, not every therapist has healed themselves. Some are emotionally distant. Not all therapists have done their own inner work. Some project their issues onto clients, give advice instead of guiding insight, or unfairly over-exaggerate normal emotions. A burned out or emotionally avoidant therapist might unknowingly shut down a client's emotional expression. Therapists are human too. If they haven't done their own inner work, they might not be the right guide for you. Therapy is only as healing as the therapist's own integration. An unhealed guide can only take you as far as they've gone themselves. Question to reflect on during the therapy session: does your therapist feel present, caring, and emotionally aware, or is your therapist doing their own healing? The next to be considered is the one of the most reasons why therapy sessions are not generating much effective results today, and most therapists won't say out loud, or maybe they are not aware themselves, and that is: healing isn't about being fixed, it's about being seen. Western therapy often comes with a quiet message: you're broken, and this will fix you. Many therapy sessions just focus on fixing what's wrong with you. But many of us aren't broken, we're just hurting. We don't need a solution. We need to be understood, accepted, and supported. Healing isn't always about solutions, it's about connection. Real healing comes when someone sees your pain and doesn't try to rush it away. Question to reflect on during the therapy session: am I being fixed in therapy, or truly felt? On a final note, therapy can be powerful, but sometimes the issue isn't therapy, it's the timing, the method, the match, or the missing elements like somatic work, spiritual integration, or safety. Most times, people just need community, nature, art, ritual, or a safe relationship more than they need talk therapy. So if you've tried therapy and it didn't help, you're not the problem. It just means you need a different map. Don't give up on healing. Just because one path didn't work doesn't mean you're lost. There's no one-size-fits-all. You may need a different kind of healing, like movement, art, prayer, community, or silence, and yes, it could be that you met the wrong therapist, or at the wrong time, or the wrong method, and that is the reason why your therapy session was not effective as you wish. If this video made you stop and say, wait, that's exactly how I feel, then don't scroll past. Because the truth we just uncovered? It's one that too many people are silently living through, sitting in therapy, week after week, wondering why they're not healing, and secretly blaming themselves. But now you know. It's not always about effort. Sometimes it's about the method. Sometimes it's the timing. Sometimes, it's the missing pieces no one told you about. So if this resonated, share it. Someone out there needs to hear that they're not broken, just in the wrong healing space. And if you want more raw, untold truths like this, truths that go beyond surface advice and into the real human experience, then make sure you subscribe and turn on that bell. Because on this channel, we don't just talk about healing, we uncover what healing truly takes. And here's a question for you. What's one thing you wish someone had told you before you started therapy? Drop it in the comments. Your story might help someone feel a little less alone.